What is up, guys? JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan, and today I want to speak with you about habits. More importantly, on how to get habits to stick. If you're like most people, you've probably tried to engage in a million different activities and you wanted to do it consistently, but you notice that you just fall off. You just forget your commitments. Maybe you said you want to exercise. Maybe you said you wanted to read more. Maybe you simply said that you wanted to go on a date every week with your spouse, and you just haven't been able to stick to these things. I'm going to stick to my realm, which is the realm of fitness and proper nutrition, and use some examples from that realm. But once again, this can be applied to anything here. And my promise to you is that if you stick with me through this entire video, I'm going to give you some very tangible things that you can do right away to execute on your habits without fail. So first and foremost, I think we need to define what a habit is. A habit is a behavior that happens on a consistent basis without exerting energy. In other words, it just happens naturally. It's just something you do and you don't even have to focus on it, okay? So my promise is that if you listen to this entire video, you watch this entire video, I'm gonna show you how to do that systematically in a way that becomes very, very tangible for you. So I truly believe that humans are hyper-focused on goals, right? You see December, January, February come around, people have very lofty goals, but what we notice is that probably 2-3 months into the process, right, they have forgotten about their goals and now they're off doing something else. The end of the year comes around, they check their goals again, they realize nothing happened. If you can resonate with this, you are, my friend, you're not alone. This is something that happens to most people. And I truly believe that the reason that happens is because people are focused on the goal, not necessarily on the habits, the things that they need to do on a daily basis in order to execute on those habits. I had a client that came through my program, and on our first meeting, I was blown away because for the very first time, I saw someone not focus on goals, but more specifically on systems. And this is what it looked like. I was taking her through some of the protocols, some of the things that we have inside of our program. And in one instance, I said to her, I said, I'd like for you to do this type of cardio 3 times a week. And instead of asking how long to go for or what her heart rate needed to be or any of those things, she said, how do I systematically execute on those things every single day? And I said, great question. And she said, yeah, I just want to know truly, like, the people that are successful in your program, how do they make that happen without fail? And when she asked that question, I knew she was going to be incredibly successful because she wasn't just focused on the goal, she was focused on the actual systems, the activities that needed to happen on a daily basis in order to make that goal happen, right? And so we talked to her about visual reminders, setting alarms, journaling, visualizing, and ultimately we set up a bunch of prompts from a coaching perspective. And sure enough, she came through the program. In 90 days, she lost 30 pounds. She's kept it off. And more importantly, she's been able to add a bunch of other great habits into her life utilizing the same exact system. So here's the system for you. Number 1, success starts the night before. You want to sit down with a piece of paper and you want to account for every single hour of the day. In other words, everything that you deem important, you want to put down on that piece of paper. So let's say at 6 a.m. you decide that you want to do cardio the next day, right? You write cardio at 6 a.m. For 10 seconds, I want you to visualize that cardio, because what's going to happen is you're going to bring that activity to your forefront, your reticular activating system. We're going to abbreviate it RAS, which is the part of your brain that is in charge of basically helping you remember the things that you've seen, heard, and experienced before. It brings things to your forefront, whereas before you were deleting, distorting, and generalizing that idea. This concept basically says that you're going to bring it to the forefront, and your brain, next time you do it, is going to be something that it remembers because you've already visualized it, and anything you've done before, your brain does better. Your brain is a machine, and it just memorizes things that you've done, right? And so if you do it visually, right, if you just visualize it, when you actually get to it, this is kind of the second experience for the brain. It's going to start basically recording those activities, and then you're going to be able to execute on it efficiently because your brain already recognizes that pattern. So you sit down, you write things out, right? And you start for 10 seconds to visualize what that thing looks like, right? Only 10 seconds, that's all it takes. Then what I'd like for you to do is set alarms, right? So if it's 6 a.m. cardio, maybe it's 9 a.m. breakfast, maybe it's 12:30 lunch, maybe it's a 4 o'clock shake, maybe it's a 7 or 8 o'clock dinner. And you want to set those alarms systematically. And then lastly, but more importantly, you need someone to keep you hyper accountable to these things. we need to be reminded of the commitments we made when we were excited, right? When we were excited, we tend to overcommit and say, yeah, I'll do it. But then all of a sudden we get the friction, we get the adversity, and next thing you know, we're retracting. So we need someone to tactfully nudge us in the right direction and remind us of what we're doing. And so, my friend, this is very simple, but very, very powerful. If you are consistently writing things out, if you are consistently visualizing those things, if you are setting alarms that basically act as a pattern interrupt, meaning that you may be distracted by something and all of a sudden your alarm goes off and boom, you're hyper focused again on the thing you need to do. And you find someone to keep you hyper accountable to your commitments, a coach, a third unbiased party, my friend, you're going to be able to execute on every single one of your goals and be incredibly successful. And this whole procrastination thing is going to be a thing of the past for you. I promise you this because I have seen it happen with hundreds of clients worldwide, people from all cultures, all backgrounds, all sorts of procrastination bad habits. And we've been able to break through simply creating a system that is very simple, but yet very powerful. You're writing things out, you're visualizing those things, you're setting alarms, and you're finding a third party, unbiased party to keep you accountable to it, okay? A coach, ideally, but maybe if you're not at that point where you're ready to hire a coach, then find a friend, find a family member and say, look, this is what I'm trying to achieve. These are the things that I need you to keep me accountable to. And then, more importantly, you wanna make sure that every other day that person is keeping you accountable to your commitments. Maybe it's a text, maybe it's a call, but it's just nudging you in the right direction. And you want to keep your accountability partner accountable, because if you are not bought into the process, maybe you haven't invested, maybe you haven't paid, maybe there's not sort of a pain mechanism on the other side that if you don't do XYZ is going to happen. Generally, we have a tendency to fall short on those commitments, and even the people that we ask to keep us accountable forget. And so this is why having a relationship and where you've invested is so incredibly important. Guys, my name is JT Tapias, and I'm a professional fitness life coach with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. These are the things that I love speaking about, things that edify the mind, the body, and the spirit from a Christian perspective. If you enjoyed this video, if you got value out of this video, you are absolutely going to love this one here. I hope you enjoyed it. More importantly, I hope you do something with these habits, with these principles. And if you do, I know you're going to be incredibly successful on the other side. JT Tapias, I'll talk to you soon. Ciao, ciao.